Right, welcome on to this Q&A. Again, want to welcome on this Q&A. A few things came in. Actually, one thing came in with something else I want to try and hit, but I'll just mention this, I guess, somewhat in passing, but we'll hit it anyway. Somebody had asked, man, whatever, we've dealt with this before, but we'll deal with it a little bit now because it just sort of came in. Question was someone, I guess try and keep this cleaner. Somebody on hormones now, changing their sex. I don't know if they're going to have an operation. Not going to have an operation. So the first question, I guess, was, if I dealt with such a thing. That was one question. Pretty much one question. But the other, but the other question really was, now they asked, I guess they're really a female right now, and I guess they're transitioned to a male, not exactly, at least with hormones anyway. So they asked me if I'd start my conversion, but I have to learn the female, what women are obligated to do. Or the question was, can I practice my faith the way I feel in tune with my soul? Yeah, they want to know where it's filmed every day, whatever. How do you deal with such a thing? So my simple answer was, I don't have great experience with this. Dealt with a few people like this. But the answer is that no matter what you do, you are the same status as what you were born with. So here's a woman who wants to change to be a man. Okay. Yeah, they want to change. They want to change. They want to change to be a man. Now they're really a woman. So they have this great desire. I don't know if that's the only reason. They have this great desire to want to wear tefillin. So you got women today that are feminists out. Some people wear tefillin. Okay. You don't necessarily have to change your sex to do it. But we mentioned this in the past. Yeah, you have to keep in mind that whatever a person does, even if they change their sex, yeah, whether they have an operation or not, doesn't really matter over here, right? Because we're not going to discriminate. Yeah, even if they change their sex and have an operation, does that change anything? Biologically, does that change anything? Right? Legitimate question. Now, if they were born, we'll make it a little more interesting. If they were born with both, what we call androgynous, according to the Gemara or the Mishnah. You had people born with both, right? Male and female reproductive organs. Now, that being said, there's the whole question. How do we look at them? They only keep commandments, as a man, as a woman. Do they do both? Right? A lot of questions. That's if they're born with both. So I had a case where parents decided they wanted a girl. So early on, they changed. Cut off one aspect, made this child a girl. But this child felt she was a boy. So later on, changed back. So that's a different issue. Why is that a different issue? Because you had both. Can't live with both. Right? You got health issues. You can't live with both. Right? Since you can't live with both, so you have to make a choice. Okay, that's a different issue. Someone is going to change from one to another. They're going to change, in this case, from female to a male. Now, again, some people do have operations, don't have operations. Well, they're on hormones. Right now they're on hormones. Okay. Now, even if they would have an operation. Even if they would have an operation, does that change anything? In other words, you got a female, gonna have a deep voice, most likely. You know, dressing like a male. So that you got a problem. You got a problem with loss of modesty. Because it's a Torah prohibition, men to wear women's clothing and vice versa. It's a Torah prohibition. Right? Can't cross dress. So does the operation or hormones or anything else, right? Operation be better, right? In that sense. Say, okay, now this woman's a man. Let's say. Did that really change anything? According to Torah, it didn't change anything. Born a woman stays a woman. Doesn't matter if you have an operation or you don't have an operation. Right? If you don't have an operation, it's better. Right? Then there's no question that this person's a female. But even if they have an operation, it doesn't change anything. Right? It'd be an interesting halachic discussion, a very short discussion. Let's say this person goes through with it, even let's say they have the operation. Right? Let's say, we'll entertain the possibility. This person has an operation. What happens to their soul? Yeah. The soul changes from male to female? Or female to male? Soul doesn't change. Right? Just by having an operation. Now, there is a question, we're not going to go there. Well, there is a question, anyone who wants to convert, anyone out there, most likely their soul was at Mount Sinai. And if their soul was at Mount Sinai, as we always say, there was intermarriage, assimilation. That soul became a non-Jewish soul. Yeah, it doesn't make sense logically why a non-Jew would want to convert anyway. Because 80% of the Torah essentially doesn't make sense. People tell me it came out of Christianity, it didn't make sense, a lot of issues, blah, 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 very good. Yeah, that might all be true. But if they didn't have that spark somewhere as a Jew, that wouldn't matter. Essentially, it wouldn't matter. Now, based on that, there is, a Kabbalistic question here. How do you take a Jewish soul and it changes to a non-Jewish soul through intermarriage and assimilation? Right now, if you're going to tell me this whole confusing thing and not so simple, which it isn't, how could a woman change to a man and the soul changes? What's the answer? It doesn't change. That won't change. Now, could it be that a male has a female soul? Could be. Doesn't mean they're going to be, feminist and all that. There are other ramifications. Again, which we're not going to go into, but there are other ramifications. But even so, in this case, what does the change do? How in the world can a person change sexes and what happens to the soul? Right? So what do they tell me? So I'll just read what they told me. That they said, they got to be in tune with their soul. I want to be able to study Torah. I want to pray tefillin. Like, who says a woman can't? Tefillin's another issue. Who says a woman can't learn Torah? She can learn what applies to her. Certain things she can't learn. Okay. Right? Going through this whole thing is, I didn't even go through any details, but going through this whole thing, be a feminist. Why change sexes? You want to say only men can wear tefillin? Okay, that's true. So what? So you say, I want to do what I want in Torah. So if I'm a woman, I'll wear tefillin. There are women that do it. Not saying it's right. Yeah. There are women that do it. Okay. So why go through this whole thing? Why go through this whole thing and change sexes, go on hormones and all that? Now, what would the simple answer be? Because that's what they really feel. Yeah, that's what they feel inside. They feel they're not a woman. Rather be a man. But if you're going to tell me it's only about doing certain commandments, and you don't have to go through that, but that's probably not the point. Right? Probably not the point. But this gets a lot more complicated. Right? It gets a lot more complicated. Because I want to feel in tune with my soul. Now, this is the problem. Why is it a problem? It's a problem for one very simple reason. The problem is you want to feel in tune with your soul, and now you're changing one way or the other. What happens to your soul? It's a basic question. Anybody could ask. Just because I'm giving the class doesn't, anyone could ask the question, what happens to the soul? And the answer is nothing. Because if you take hormones or do anything else, you're still the same person. Your soul is the same soul. It doesn't change. If you want to tell me, a person's soul was really originally Jewish, which probably most people want to convert, that's the case. And then through assimilation into marriage, they end up having to go through conversion. Forget you can't prove it. They have to go through conversion because they're not Jewish. According to everybody, let's say. Yeah, they're not Jewish. Very good. So what happened to that soul now? How did that soul all of a sudden now becomes non-Jewish? How's that work? Good, that's Kabbalah 101. 101A. But why, you can ask over here. What, my soul is drawn to this. But your soul stays the same. It's kind of foolish if you think about it. My soul is drawn to that. I feel like doing mitzvahs that only apply to men. Okay. Yeah. But your soul is in the body of a woman. So just because you want to put on tefillin and do anything, what happens to that soul? Does that soul change? Just because you change clothing? You grow facial hair? Does that change anything? Doesn't change anything. So I would say very simple, which this case obviously not so simple. None of these cases are simple. I would say that, like this. I would say, instead of going through all the hormonal changes, and everything else, so wear tefillin. Be a feminist. Be a feminist. You want to learn Talmud? Learn Talmud. Which a lot of it doesn't apply to women. You want to learn it? Learn it. So do it in that way. Why go through the whole thing? People in the body, plenty of other issues as well. But obviously that's not the case. Because I feel more drawn to this. I want to do more things like a man. Okay, so do them if you want. Why are you going through this whole metamorphosis? So what's the simple answer? The simple answer is because that's who I feel I am. They feel they're a man in a woman's body. Okay. But if you're drawn to these other mitzvahs and you want to do it like men, you still have a female soul. So how does that help? Doesn't help. Totally doesn't help. A lot of compassion for these people. Messed up totally. Totally. You can say, well, you don't know what it's like. You feel like you're in the wrong body. You're right. I can't imagine what that feels like. True. But many of these people, especially furthest from homosexuals also, they wish they weren't. They wish they did not go down that path, but they did. And that's what they feel they are. Vast majority wish they were normal, quote unquote. They were heterosexual. They wish that. But whatever, for other reason, it's the way it is. Now, based on that, is this a natural thing? Homosexuality is not a natural thing. We're looking at it from a Torah perspective. From the Torah itself, it says that you cling to your spouse. Doesn't say you cling to a man for a man, or a woman for a woman. And then in Leviticus chapter 18, I'll get there one day, I don't know when, but Leviticus chapter 18 says you can't be homosexual. Can't act on it. Torah prohibition, corporal punishment, death penalty. That's not normal. right? We're not politically correct here. No one's going to think I'm politically correct, but it's not normal. It's a forbidden relationship. Even though someone said, yeah, look at the verse before, talk about, verses that are, one before the other. There's a connection there. It's talking about idolatry. Very good. So someone wanted to claim, yeah, it's talking about idolatry. It must be homosexuality is only forbidden when it's associated with idolatry. So you have to understand why that verse is there. Very good. I have one question. If you look at the book of Leviticus chapter 18, you got 20 verses there, 21 verses there, all talking about forbidden relationships, right? Forbidden sexual relationships. Then I have a verse about idolatry, and then I have a verse about homosexuality. Now, it's true, juxtaposition of verses is important. You have to see what this verse is doing there first, very good, and then what's coming afterwards, very good, right? But I'll take out my calculator here over here. So if you got 21 out of 22 verses, right, let's do the math. That is 95.454545. So you got 95%. 95% of this chapter up until this point is speaking about what? Forbidden relationships. Now, I got a verse there about idolatry, very good. And then it goes back to forbidden relationship. If I got 21 out of 22 verses, wouldn't that tell you the whole chapter is talking about forbidden relationships? That'd be obvious. Be totally obvious. Yes. Very good. Now, you got to answer why that other verse is there. It's talking about idolatry. Very good. But at 95% of the entire chapter is talking about forbidden relationships. This would fit in that part of the chapter. Agreed? Yes. Very good. So if that's the case, it has nothing to do with idolatry. The whole chapter is about forbidden relationships. It's a forbidden relationship. Now, someone's going to say, isn't it true? People like that, they're wired differently. Now, there is a claim. I definitely don't think it's true, but there's a claim out there that there's a different that they have a certain gene, a homosexual gene. They haven't proved it, right? But there's such an idea. Well, we're all made up of DNA. Isn't it true we have a lot of bad genes? Anger genes, not wanting to help other genes, right? Not wanting to give charity genes, whatever. We're wired a certain way. Now, even if you're wired a certain way, does God want you to act on these bad character traits? No, doesn't want. So why do you wire you that way? Can't answer that. Everybody's got a certain disposition. Yeah. Now, even if we would say, but it's not true, but even if we would say a person, a male, is wired with that desire, let's say. Now, if he acts on that desire, after he dies, after 120 years, what could he say? What could his claim be? God's going to say, listen, you're in serious trouble. Look what you did over here. Go to the room. Look what he did over here. Said you're liable for death penalty. So the person can answer, did you wire me this way? Aren't I a product of my parents? Aren't I wired this way? What's God going to say? Yeah, let's say, I wired you that way. Okay? I totally wired you that way. But what's God going to answer? He's going to say, even if that's true, I didn't say to act on it. I didn't say give into it. But you're going to say I'm wired that way. But aren't we wired with all kinds of bad character traits? Forget we did it to ourselves. I'm not even talking about that. That we made it worse for ourselves. Let's say we're wired with certain bad character traits. Anger. Person got an extra dose, 3 doses of anger. Doesn't he have a disposition to work on anger much more, maybe, than other people? Maybe that's their main issue they have to work on? Yes. Or charity. Maybe they don't like to help others. Maybe they gave an extra dose of that. Wired that way. Okay. But what does God say? Everyone's got a disposition. And if you got a disposition and it's bad, you can't act on it. See, that's the curse. The curse is, as the Torah says, child's going to be punished for the sin of the parent. What's the obvious question? What the child do? Child didn't do anything. Parents got bad character traits. The child acts on that. What's the problem? Why is there a curse there? The Gemara says the only reason there's a curse is because you act on what the parents did. If you go in the same negative way and take on what they did, then 100% you get the curse. Then you pay the price. If that is not the case, a person fought against how their parents brought them up. They didn't go in their negative ways. So then the curse doesn't apply. That won't apply. So it doesn't matter. See, this is the kicker. It doesn't matter what our DNA is. We're going to have to answer for what we've done in either case. So even if I would entertain the possibility, which I wouldn't, but even if I would entertain the possibility and say a person's wired a certain way, does that mean God wants you to do it? You have a certain disposition. Doesn't mean he wants you to act on it. Now, isn't it true? Someone who's born of parents that would say are alcoholics. Isn't there more of a chance they can be alcoholics? More of a chance. A lot of people probably won't be alcoholics because they see what it does. They see the effect, but it has a strong effect. So a person has a certain disposition. You think someone like Nissim Black grew up in a crack house. Doesn't come in a drug house. He was smoking weed at the age of 12. 13? Yeah. He could have totally destroyed his life like everyone else around him. But he didn't. He got out of it miraculously. But isn't it true? Growing up in such an environment, you'd have such a a certain, disposition. Of course you'd have a certain disposition. There's no question. They're going to say, but you put me in this environment. Isn't that what someone's going to say to God? You put me in this environment. What do you want from me? I just acted out on what I saw. God says, okay, I put you in that environment for a reason. Good. I don't want you to act on it. I just gave it to you more than other people. Other people have different things to work on. It's not an excuse. Just because this happened, that happened. And you're wired that way, it doesn't give you a right to do it. You got more of a disposition. Okay. So what? Right? So in this case, simple answer is doesn't change. Doesn't change anything. Person feels they have more of a disposition to that. Right? Or change sex. Okay. They have a certain disposition. That's what they feel. Or even if they don't have that disposition, it came later, whatever it is. Aren't they going to be, isn't God going to say, I didn't tell you to do it? I didn't tell you to act on it. Very good. Yeah, so what's the difference? What's the difference over here? The simple answer is like this. Someone who acts on it, they feel this is who they are. This person's claiming this is what my soul is drawn to. But the soul doesn't change. The soul does not all of a sudden now you're on hormones. They say they're having an operation. Right? So let's say they don't have an operation. Make it a little bit easier. They don't have an operation. They take hormones. Yeah, very good. Did that change anything? Spiritually. Did it change anything? No. Now it'll be a little more drastic. So what happens if they had an operation? Or multiple operations? Did that change anything spiritually? No. Because the bottom line is you are who you are. You are who you are in that body. Now, some people say, come on. See a kid at the age of 3, 4, this kid's more feminine, playing with dolls. Well, what do you think? How do you think this kid's going to turn out? Yeah. Like, do you think God, someone said, do you think really God's going to get him? Becomes a homosexual. It's obvious at the age of 3 or 4. And this person said, yeah, I know the other Orthodox are being upset with me. Yeah, because the book of Leviticus says you're going to fry for doing such a thing. You're in serious trouble. Very serious trouble here. So, yeah, this person's a heretic because you can't go against what the Torah says. Yeah, I know the other Orthodox are going to be upset with me. Right? Because you're a heretic. You don't have a right to say that. Oh, it's because he liked to play dolls when he's younger. Yeah. Right? It's obvious that's how the kid was going to be. I don't know. Maybe the kid needed help. There are psychologists out there that can help people like this. They can help. They can help. If not, okay. If forget, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But even more so, someone does an operation, what does it do to their soul? Nothing. They're who they are in that body. That's the bottom line. Right? You're drawn to it, whatever. Okay, there are things people have to work on. But you can't say, well, I right to my own body, this and that. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. The Torah makes clear, family unit's the unit. And if everyone acted on this, you wouldn't have a population left. Practically speaking. But the Torah says clear, cling to your spouse. Cling to your wife, not to a guy. And then the Torah forbids it. Clearly forbids it. It's been around since the beginning of time. Okay, but who says that's... people say for them it's natural inclination. Who says? Who says it? Natural inclination. The vast majority of people in the world, men are attracted to women and vice versa. Not this way. Say, but times have changed. Times have changed. Yeah, what's changed? We live in Sodom. Worse than Sodom. They're educating the populace to say that, a guy's not a guy, a woman's not a woman. How do you know what you are at the age of 5? That's insanity. Total insanity. So, yeah, based on that, this is a lot more complex. Right? That person, should they become a Jew, you're not allowed to cross-dress. Forget about doing operations. Men can't wear women's clothing, vice versa. Question would be, what about a non-Jew? Right? Without applying the no-hide laws. Yeah, it probably comes under the laws of adultery. Right? Laws of whatever, relations. Who are you allowed to be with or not. Right? Certainly homosexuality forbidden for a non-Jew, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's a forbidden relationship. Changing sexes also be forbidden. Right? We won't discriminate. It makes sense logically. The no-hide laws, whatever non-Jew has to keep. You have to keep the laws that are logical according to Torah. Right? This is logical. That shouldn't be done. Right? Which gets up to another question. It's actually a good segue. And I'll take other questions. That is, at least in the States, July 4th. Right? Independence Day. Is a Jew or a non-Jew allowed to celebrate it? I can say I'm happy. I'm in a free country. Well, it doesn't look so free now. If you want to be a Jew, but free country. That's why Jews went there. So they wouldn't be persecuted, in Europe and Russia and other places where they were. So what's going on over here? They're allowed to celebrate. Allowed to go to parades. I don't know, other things. Have a barbecue in honor of July 4th. What would be the issue going the ways of non-Jews? Okay, you live in a nice place. You live in a free place, let's say. Same thing about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, there's an argument. It was actually a religious holiday. Right? Rabbi Miller held that. Most rabbinic authorities did not hold that. It wasn't a religious holiday. It's all about turkey and football, not necessarily in that order. Yeah, so nothing to do with the religious thing. But also, same thing. It's going in the way of non-Jews. But I would say if that's the only time to get together with family, okay, can't get together on Shabbos, can't get together on festivals. Okay, Thanksgiving is like, not the end of the world. But you're gonna say, but you're going to the ways of non-Jews. It's true. Very, very true. Right now, for a non-Jew, would that be an obligation? Would that be an obligation? Now, some, let's say, non-Orthodox Jews will say, what's the problem having a barbecue on Thanksgiving, on July 4th? They have work off. Guys should be sitting and learning if they have the time off. Or make a nice barbecue, whatever. But, again, you're doing it for the sake of that day. That's going to the way, non-Jews. However they celebrate, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So what about a non-Jew? Where does a non-Jew fit in this? I would say that's the moral imperative. You can't say it's one of the no-hide laws. It's not logical. It's because they have a parade and do other things. So what? It's not idolatry. Do we go that far to say for non-Jews? I would say no. I would say it's a moral imperative. Like, you want to be more insular. Yeah. A lot of these things you shouldn't do because it's just, you always have to ask yourself, is this good for me spiritually? Is it good for me spiritually? Yes or no? You see, going and this and that, what's the big deal? It's not idolatry, it's not forbidden, it's not, okay. Does it make me a better person spiritually? That's the question. And what should be the answer? I can't imagine it does. Because, hey, if I'm into it, this and that, I won't have anyone to talk to and no one to be with. Could be. Could very well be. Right? Or, or a person just get out of Dodge if they can and move, closer to a Jewish community. They have more connection to Jews. So that's going to be, that'd be better. There aren't no-hide communities today. There's only, really a couple. But, in general, some people say it shouldn't be no-hide communities. It's all another issue. If it's done the right way, it could be. Right? Definitely could be. But, it is more complicated. True. But wouldn't it be better to be more isolated and do all this other garbage? I would think. It's not helping you spiritually. I mentioned, parade. Celtics parade, 1.5 million people, right? Cheering on their team that won. Very good. 1.5 million people. Say, wow, drew me so close to God. You think so? Come on. Let's be realistic. So it's a big thing. Good, it's a big thing. First time they won championship 16 years. Okay. Very good. Yeah. What did it do for your spiritual soul? Yeah. Someone here says mutilation of the body. Very good. Also, right? Also could be an issue. Right? Can't help them be happy with their gender and all the other things. True. True. I didn't mention that. But again, cross-dressing should be a problem. Even for non-Jews. Yeah. Where do you see that's natural? That's normal. Normal is you wear your own type of clothes. You don't wear clothes of the opposite sex. But again, they don't have the same level of modesty laws that we do. But this is going beyond. This is changing who you are. Someone here mentions how to break traditions like December 25th or Thanksgiving and July 4th. Maybe July 4th means less. Okay. Maybe it does. But I'm saying it's no different. It's going in the ways of non-Jews either way. Yeah, Thanksgiving's a much bigger day for family. Okay, granted. People get together on July 4th. You're right, it might not be the same. Doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter. If it's less, it's the same, or it's more, it's the same idea. Right? It's basically the same idea. Somebody asked before I want to hit this. Someone asks, let's bring it up here. Automotive teaches Jewish people who have a speech impediment. You're going to give it over to Aaron, right? Didn't God say when Moses used that argument, couldn't speak in front of Pharaoh? God didn't say, I'll fix your lisp. I'll fix your speech impediment. Right? Because they put the coals in his mouth, they burnt his mouth. Right? So God didn't say, I'll fix it. God could have miraculously just fixed it. But he didn't. So Moses says, how can I go in front of Pharaoh? They're all going to laugh at me. Right? Because I have the speech impediment. Very good. So what did God say? I'll speak to you. You give it over to Aaron. Obviously, Aaron can figure it out what he was saying. Right? It's how did Moses teach the Torah to the Jewish people? He taught to Aaron. And Aaron could have given it over to others. Whoever understood him as he spoke, he could have given it to them. Right? But Aaron was a smart guy. Very smart guy. Doesn't need me to, need me to say that. But he's very bright. So if he can understand what Moses says, can't Moses speak to him and have Aaron give it over to others? And then just pass it down that way? Could. That wouldn't be a problem. Or he could tell me that other people, very smart people, could understand what he said. They're not impossible. But the interesting thing is, the Torah doesn't tell me God changed it. The Torah says explicitly what? What do you think I have Aaron there for? And give it over to Aaron, he'll tell him. He'll speak to Pharaoh. Doesn't look as good. Maybe. Because he's got the speech impediment. So he's going to give it over to his brother, and his brother will tell Pharaoh what God said. Make it more authoritative. Very good. Right, very good. So we could have given it over that way. But the Torah does not tell me anywhere. The Torah doesn't say God fixed his speech impediment. Why didn't God do that? Why didn't God make a miracle and fix his speech? He'll go into Pharaoh much stronger. He didn't feel he had to. He felt that he could give it over to others and others will pass it down. Yeah, God didn't feel he needed to do that miracle. Why? Good question. But he didn't feel he needed to. He left Moses with that speech impediment his whole life. You have to remember when he goes in front of Pharaoh, by the way, how old he's like in his 80s. He's not a young person either. Right? And he had that speech impediment for a long time. So when he spoke to the elders, he spoke to Aaron, he knew they knew what he was talking about. Or he can tell me he spoke to Aaron and Aaron told everyone else. Either way, right? Either way, that could be an answer. Then someone asked, very good. What does the statement Derech Eretz come before Torah study mean? What do you think it means? We're not talking about livelihood. Derech Eretz sometimes means livelihood, true. Sometimes it means livelihoods. But Derech Eretz over here means what? Proper manners. That's what it means. Literally means the way of the earth, but it means proper manners. Sometimes it means livelihood, could be. Right? Torah im Derech Eretz. Right? So that Derech Eretz means making a living. Very good. So why does it come before Torah study? Let me ask you. Or let me ask anybody. If a person has gross character traits, person is conceited, person doesn't take care of personal hygiene, could be brilliant. Could be brilliant in Torah. Be a brilliant Torah scholar. You want to listen to somebody who's arrogant? Or someone who's a disgusting individual? Take Aristotle. Pick on Mr. Aristotle here. Aristotle, one of the greatest minds in the history of man. Yeah? Aristotle was a disgusting human being as well. Totally disgusting human being. And his students once caught him doing like terrible, disgusting things. And what did Aristotle say? They asked him, how could the great Aristotle do this? So he said, is Aristotle the philosopher? Aristotle does other things. We don't compartmentalize. Bertrand Russell taught him my alma mater, right? Columbia University, taught ethics, but he's totally unethical. So his students asked him, if you're so unethical, how can you teach ethics? And he said, if I taught mathematics, expect me to be a square. So we don't believe in that. How could you learn from such a person? That's the whole point. Torah can corrupt a person, even. What's their Torah scholarship worth if they don't have proper character traits? That's one explanation, right? Derech Eretz has to come before Torah started, because if you don't have Derech Eretz, the Torah you learn, it means nothing. And one of my rabbis learned under somebody said, absolutely brilliant mind. Brilliant mind. He said the person's character traits were so bad he didn't last more than 2 weeks learning by it. Because they go hand in hand. How can someone have bad character traits and, be an unbelievable Torah scholar? Because they don't get the message. They don't internalize the message. And if you don't internalize the message, Torah not worth spit, my language. They go, they can know 1,000,000,000 times more than me in 10 lifetimes. But you know what? If they sneeze out loud and they look disgusting and whatever, what do I care what they know? They look like a slob. Yeah? They look like a slob, let's say. Dress like a slob. Doesn't have to have a 3-piece suit and be all decked out. But a person dresses like a slob, even they're a big Torah scholar, it looks pretty bad. That's why I say Torah scholar goes outside, he's going to be dressed impeccably. Right? One of the reasons so people have more respect for the person, the way they're dressed. When a person comes, I remember someone came into, the teacher wasn't there or whatever. This guy comes in and, is giving over different things. The guy looked like a total slob. Slob! Capital S. Yeah? Again, he can know 10 times more than me in 10 lifetimes. Not a question of knowledge. The guy literally looked like a slob. In Kelm and other places, being dressed properly and this and that was crucial. It's crucial to learning Torah. Well, you don't make your bed properly. You don't, you throw things all over the place like you don't care. Torah, you got to be dressed up. You're learning God's Torah, you look like a slop. Smell. Right, we'll keep this clean. Yeah. Proper hygiene? Yeah. How does it apply to earning a living? Derech Eretz means the way of the world. Yeah. So Torah im Derech Eretz means that if a person is Torah but they don't work, how are they gonna live, right? Because the Mishnah Pirkei Avos says, "Ein kemach ein Torah." If you don't have flour, you won't have Torah. Flour means money. Person can't sit and learn. I mean, in theory, you can sit, and barely eat and other things. How are you going to live? If someone's on a very high level, extremely high level, yeah, and they learn all day. The wife doesn't work. They don't put their best foot forward for anything, right? If they're on that level to be able to do that, God will take care of all their needs, even without doing very much or any putting your best foot forward. Most people have to put the best foot forward. And even to put your best foot forward, it's no guarantee. We don't have people like that today, just about. Someone's going to say, okay, God will take care of my needs, and I don't have to do anything. It's not true. Definitely not true. So either they're going to have to do something on the side or minimally or whatever, or other people are going to have to help them. Yeah. Also, person says, I heard that Jewish teachers are not allowed to earn money. God taught Torah Moses for free. Very good. So how do people take money? Good. Good question. Did that on Tanakh Talk, controversial issues. Right? Why is that permissible? Right? But we'll deal with it here for a second. Right? Well, I'll get to that in Pirkei Avos one day. I'm not sure when. Right? But, commentaries all say Moses taught for free. Yeah. Well, let's keep one thing in mind. God made Moses rich through the tablets. Moses didn't have to work. He didn't have to do anything. The Kohanim, how did they survive? They got food from some of the sacrifices. They had, I got some of the skins, other things. They were supported by others. They were supported by others. Now, just like Moses taught for free, you shouldn't take money. So when is it permissible to take money? So the Gemara says, person's teaching little kids. How can you be paid for that? How are you allowed to be paid for that? Because because they're not really teaching them Torah. A lot of what they teach, okay, they are going to teach a little bit of Torah here and there, but that's not the main thing they're doing. What are they doing? Classroom control. Make sure they don't kill each other. Very hard job. Very, very hard job. Yeah. So they're not being paid to teach Torah. They're being paid majority of their money that they're getting is because they're, classroom control. Now, let's take it a step further. What about not classroom control? Right? What about older kids? There's also classroom control in there, but you're also teaching them Torah. Right? You're also teaching them Torah. You're teaching them other things also. But today it's different. Today it's going to be very different. Because even though technically it can't be done, but you teach them other things also. So therefore, it'd be okay. But you're right. If they're teaching them straight Torah, they shouldn't get paid. That's how they're going to live. Someone told me, I'm scamming off of all these non-Jews. Said, I can, I can put you in business. I can get you a real job. I said, first of all, I'm not scamming off anybody. That's the first thing. And second of all, I said, I'm good at what I do. I'm not bragging. I'm good at what I do. I'm able to help a lot of people. If they help me on the side, it's also good. But like anything else, now you're going to ask me technical questions. And technical questions, but it's not for teaching Torah. Yeah, it's not straight for teaching Torah, but I do a lot of other things also. A lot of what I do is counseling also. Answering people's questions. Giving them life direction. That's not Torah. That's not direct Torah. I mean, it comes from Torah, but it's not direct. But when I did this on Tanakh Talk, I said very clearly, if a person takes any course in education, any course, they're not going to haggle about money. No one's going to haggle about money. Whatever the course is, you pay it up front, you get a discount. You don't pay it up front, this is what the price is. Only if you're Jewish, you might haggle on the price. A friend of mine, is a computer technician. He said, if someone couldn't figure out how to turn on the computer, I'm going to charge them $100. Someone comes to fix your washing machine. I had this number of years ago. That's nothing wrong with the washing machine. Guy came in, took care of it. A week later, 2 weeks later, something else went wrong. So I said, is this under warranty? He said, no. I said, why not? He said, different part. Yeah. In anything else, nobody would even argue this. I'm not saying that's your question. I'm just saying, in general, for anything else, nobody would even bat an eyelash. I got accused of extortion once. I don't turn away people because of money. Like I always say, if I do what I do with a business, I'd be broke. But at the end of the day, someone said, what would your rabbi say? What would your rabbi say? You're doing this, whatever. I said, you know what he would say? He says, why are you charging so little? You should charge a lot more. Since you're giving over expertise, you can't charge him so little. I said, that's what he would say. Extortion? Yeah, if I was charging $1,500 a month, that would be maybe. Right? So it comes out according to the Code of Jewish law, that's forbidden. That, overcharging for sure forbidden. But within reason, why not? If someone was an expert in physics, right? If someone was an expert in physics, and they gave you 45 minutes of their time, an hour of their time, how much do you think that would cost? People in marketing, my wife's involved in marketing. You got these big gurus. They help companies, go to the next level with marketing different things. They're not charging $100 an hour. They're not charging $100 an hour, not even close. Not even close. Charging tens of thousands of dollars. No one's calling that extortion because you're paying for expertise. Total expertise. Right? I get it. Someone doesn't have money, whatever. Okay. Right? Not gonna charge them. Or if they can pay something good. If not, they still should get help. But in any other profession, no one would ever ask this question. Nobody would ever ask this question. You take the biggest guru in any, I took a real estate course from somebody. Yeah. Let me tell you how it worked. It was 6 months, once a week. He took questions or whatever. And if he had a serious question, you send him a fax. This is a number of years ago. Yeah. You send him a fax. And when people had email, he said, I'll answer it quicker if I see a fax. See, if someone's making, a teacher should be paid a lot more. A lot more. They should be paid like a doctor and a lawyer for what they're doing. Giving over information, hopefully the right way, making people who they need to be. Yeah. Why should they get paid like a doctor or a lawyer? $300-400 an hour. Why not? Look what they're giving over. But someone says, come on, this is extortion. $10 an hour is extortion? Seriously? Even if it'll be $20 an hour. If you hire a tutor for your kids, how much are they gonna charge? $30 an hour? $40 an hour? Yeah, in American dollars? They're not gonna charge you $60 an hour, $70 an hour. You're not gonna pay that. No one's gonna pay that. Right? Let's say $30 an hour, $35 an hour, maybe a little bit more. 45 minutes to an hour. Well, someone's doing a lot more than that. Answering people's questions, speaking them on the phone, doing other things over time. Worth a lot more. It's worth a lot more. $10 an hour, someone's going to call that extortion. That's a bit much. Right? But you're right. Technically speaking, a person shouldn't be able to teach for Torah. Shouldn't be able to get paid to teach Torah. It's a whole different thing today. The whole different thing. If their needs would be taken care of in other ways, great. I would say the same thing. Like someone said, so get a real job. Why don't I get a real job? I'm very good at this. Yeah. That's not always been easy. Right? But but the end, let me ask like this. Let's say a person really helped you out, saved your life. In spiritual terms. Get enough guidance and this. How much is that worth? That's about giving classes what to do, what not to do, this, that. Forget about inspiring people, jumping up and down, screaming this, that. But actually turn their lives around and save them. What is that worth? Now, psychologists can do that. They get paid whatever they get an hour. Yeah, but you're saving people's lives. Even if one is saying, but it's teaching Torah, this and that. You're saving people's lives. Turning them around. You're putting in the right direction. And then that person's going to say, listen, look what you did over here. I owe you everything, but I don't have money. Okay. Can you put a price on that? Can't put a price on it. Can't put a price on it. Yeah. So again, how's the person going to live if they don't get paid? Now, you got people teaching today, in schools and yeshivas, women and men, they're getting paid peanuts. And a lot of people not going into education exactly for that reason. Can't make ends meet. Because once you teach, you can't do anything else. Figure out to do anything else. Women coming out of seminary, they want to teach. They get paid next to nothing. If the husband's learning, they don't make any money. A lot of good people would go into education if they got paid what they should. You are educating the next generation. And you got people inspired to do this, but if you're going to pay them nothing, no one's going to go into it. And there are a number of people that have been lost because of it. What other rabbinic judge is saying concerning students in the army? Oh, I got to see Rabbi Singh what he said about it. But we're fighting it. Now, even today, the claim is you need more people in the army because it's an army based on reserves, right? You got a lot of reserves, right? You got a lot of reserves. Yeah. If you don't have the reserves, you need manpower. Okay. What's their goal? What ultimately is their goal? For us to be like them. That's what they want. They want us to be like them. Very good. Yeah. So, but, they're pushing it off. The numbers are not going to be the same. But they're great rabbis generation today are saying you're going to kill them spiritually. Right? Other people are going to say, watch our kids die. Why not? You have to share the burden. We're doing so many things also. You know, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and all that. They're not going to serve, people aren't going to have to serve after a certain age, right? They're not interested in training people, someone's got 6 kids and they're 35 years old. They're not interested in that. What's the whole thing? You say, oh, we need more people, this and that. Okay, maybe it's true. Maybe. Well, but why are we fighting so strong against it? Not because we don't want to fight. If it'd be a war, you're obligated to fight, everyone goes fight. Right? But what's the issue? They want us to be like that. That's the issue. Their whole goal, they make it clear. They want us to be exactly like them. That's the danger. So we're going to say, so you're not going to get one of ours. Yeah. What happened at the beginning is when God said, eat from the tree of knowledge. Yeah. Deceiving spirit entered Eve. Who said deceiving spirit? That's what the Torah says. The Torah says snake spoke. Snake, the evil inclination, tried to convince him. Right? To eat from the tree. Yeah. He came through the commandment. I don't know who says. God said, don't eat from the tree. Gave one command. Very good. Comes on the evil inclination, tries to convince her to eat from it. Yeah. What's the whole point? Because we have free will. And the whole point is that it comes on the evil inclination, trying to get us to do certain things that are against Torah. Now, he had a big interest over here. The whole question, did he really enter the snake? Was the snake in itself the evil inclination just wrapped up as a snake? Right? The whole question over here. But essentially, to give man free will. Yeah, you see, we blew it. And brought death to the world. That's not a Jewish concept, right? Shouldn't be, but man ate from the tree, so God goes to plan B. Didn't God know man was going to eat from the tree? Yeah. Definitely knew that. Definitely could happen. And that would happen. But he still gave man the opportunity. He gave man to have the opportunity to have free will. That's what free will is. Why did God create evil? See, for the Christians, big problem. Because Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7, they bastardized it. Yeah, they totally mistranslated. Because the Torah says Isaiah says over there, and everyone agrees Isaiah is a prophet, so Isaiah said what? That God created evil. Now, for the Christian, that's a big problem. Because what do you do? What do you do with the Satan? He's the fallen angel. We don't believe in fallen angel. Angels don't have free will. Just like animals don't have free will. Just like trees don't have free will. The stars, the moon, they don't have free will. So what are they? So when in doubt, mistranslates. So they have a whole different translation. They're going to say, okay, if God created evil, it means he is evil. No. Why did God create evil? He allowed people to tap into evil. Does he want them to? No. Yeah, but we have free will. We can make the right decision, wrong decision. You got plenty of robots in this world. Plenty. Plants, animals, stars, moon. They all do what God says. They don't have a choice. Mankind's the only one that doesn't. Yeah. If you have something tempting you to sin, you have the deceiving spirit in you. Everyone has an evil inclination. I don't know, I call it deceiving spirit, but whatever, same thing. Right? Everyone's got an evil inclination. Who said you have to act on it? That's my whole point. Even if you're wired that way, and you have a certain disposition, who said you should act on it? Everyone's got an evil inclination for all kinds of things. Money, women, anger, being conceited. We all have an evil inclination. Yeah? So the whole point is to fight the evil inclination. So the Gemara says, God created an antidote. So what's the antidote to the evil inclination? Antidote is Torah. The more Torah you learn, doesn't mean the evil inclination dies. The more Torah you learn, the more you're aware, the harder you have to fight against it. Right? Everyone has the evil inclination inside them. Right? Until Adam and Eve ate from the tree, that wasn't the case. Right? But after Adam and Eve ate from the tree, very good. Right? So now it's harder. But Adam made a calculation. He said, if I put the evil inclination inside of myself, every time I do the right thing, exponentially I grow spiritually. But he also said, if I transgress, then I debase the body and I debase the soul. It's always a constant battle between body and soul. So even though everyone has it inside them, who says I have to act on it? Who says I have to waste my life watching YouTube videos? Who says, a person has to waste their life doing other things? Just because it's inside of them. So what? plenty of things inside of us that are bad. There are plenty of things good also, right? So why did God create it? To test us. We're in this world to be tested. That's the whole point, right? Tested to do the right thing. We want to do the right thing, but there are plenty of tests out there that want us to fail. That's what the evil inclination does. It's called the evil inclination, right? The Satan, the evil inclination, the angel of death, all wrapped in one, right? He's an angel that goes around trying to get people to do the wrong thing. Okay, so what? Right? So what? He doesn't have power himself. Can't do whatever he wants. I'll bring you proof for that, beginning of the book of Job. Right? God says, fine, you can test him, whatever, you can't kill him. Doesn't, so it shows he can't do whatever he wants. But he can test mankind. Right? He can test mankind, so what? He can deceive people, whatever, and try and deceive people. And that's what he does. And it takes people's lives, but guess what? He can't do it his own. He doesn't have independent power. God says don't kill him, he can't kill him. Right? To Job, he says you can do everything else, you can't kill him. Right? That's clear proof he doesn't have that power. Because God doesn't allow him to. Right? He's an angel, very good. So he goes around doing all these things. Okay. Yeah, trying to convince people to do the wrong thing. Yeah. But it can't be an independent power. How can it be an independent power? If God is absolute, there's nothing outside of him. So if you want to stop him, right, can't just God go around and just like knock him off? Could. He could stop him whenever he wants. No thing has independent power outside of God. So why does God allow him to do what he does? Because he does. He doesn't stop him. And when he does stop him, he can't do it. Period. Right? Period. The evil inclination has power. It has power. It doesn't have independent power. Don't make that mistake. That's idolatry. Yeah. That's giving something independent power doesn't have. Yeah. So we, for sure, don't believe that, first of all, he's a fallen angel. We first don't believe that. Second of all, we don't believe that he can do whatever he wants. He can't. He has to answer to God. He can't just do what he wants. Right? Any of these spiritual forces and other things cannot do what they want. Yeah. Let's say you can know the tree of knowledge, but you don't know eat from it. All right. Right. It's God allowed the opportunity for evil inclination, right? Everybody's tested. That's the whole point. Right? That is the whole point. Someone here says we don't know how to read between the lines, understand. Well, that's why I have oral law. Teach us what it is. Yeah. Any other questions here? Let's see. What was all the Levites who didn't work? Yeah, the Levites did stuff also. They also did stuff, right? They were taken care of. The Levites were taken care of. They're also taken care of. Right? Now the Israelites like to learn Torah, right? But they had stuff to do in the temple also. They got supported. Right? People sit and learn and get supported. Right? They're no different than the Levites. Totally no different than the Levites. People say, oh, the sponges, they're not doing anything, this, that. Because they don't believe that Torah has power. Yeah, let me see. Other questions. Plenty of men who have feminine disposition, still attracted to women. Okay, some aren't. Some are not attracted to women. I'm not gonna say all of them. I don't know what the percentage is. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. But in such a case, could a person have such an inclination? In theory. In theory, but we live in such a messed up world today. It doesn't come from nothing. It doesn't come from, I just had this thing inside me and that's what I feel. It's not the case. How do people get into this sometimes? Experiments. Not that, this is what I believe and this, making a whole agenda about it. No. They experiment. I know somebody did that, experimented, they became a lesbian. Yeah. Want to try it out, they liked it, whatever. That's what happens. Yeah, you want to tell me someone from a very young age and is born that way and feels that way and this and that. There are people that can help that. It's not normal. Definitely not normal. That the power of the street is unbelievable. Power of the media is unbelievable. Someone said, I mentioned this, and it's the other day, people come to the conclusion, Mr. Biden, we're not going to get into politics, it's like it's senile. Well, I don't see any videos of him over the last couple of years. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear this guy's senile. Yeah, doesn't know what's going on, this and that. I think it's pretty clear. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like someone now, jumps out of their skin. It's like, oh, now they're finally telling us. Yeah, well, if you got eyes to see, it's obvious. If you know all the times he fell and this and that, okay, that can happen. Person's older age. But you look at some of these videos, he's not there. He's just not there at all. This is not conspiracy theory. Just watch. Maybe sometimes speak stronger, sometimes not. But like someone's all upset. I know someone right now, is all upset. How could the media fly us? Because that's what they do. And they hide things. They hide things so people don't know about it because they don't want to get out. Or they suppress things or whatever. We're not going to speak about that. That's a much bigger topic. Strict laws on helping trans is not allowing to help them. Yeah, it's mutilation of the body also. But again, it's tragic, these people. I heard a great rabbi once say, I don't know if everyone would agree with him, but say that someone come to you and and they're homosexuals, they're a mitzvah to help them, if they're a male. Sorry, if they want to be Jewish, if they're a mitzvah to help them. I heard a great rabbi say, yes, there's a mitzvah to help them. Well, the question is, how if you help them and they want to be Jewish, yeah, they're going to be over Torah prohibition when they convert. I mean, they're already transgressing now. It's an non-Jew. It's forbidden for them. They're not helping them. Say, but people steal and people commit adultery, they do other things. Even if they're born into it, okay. But you're coming in now. You're coming in with all kinds of baggage. That's a whole different thing. If a person's born Jewish, say membership has privileges like American Express, right? Membership has privileges, okay. But still, God doesn't want you to do that either. But you're on the outside coming in, and now you can take on the mitzvahs and do that. That's going to be a big problem. Big problem. You think a rabbinical whore is going to convert somebody like that? Depends who, where. It's very hard to imagine. A trans, same thing. Just as worse. Yeah. Don't they have a religious brigade? They do. They do have religious groups. They do have religious groups. I will tell you from experience, I know some people, went in the army, became stronger from it. Being in religious groups. Okay. Well, people go into the army because, they want to work and they want to have a problem, getting paid under the table and different things. Yeah, they're not top, they're not top learners going in. But most people who go in the army, even if they're religious, come out worse. Spiritually, come out worse. So, it's gotten better over the years because of these religious groups, but, even so, their goal, even with religious groups, that's their goal. Their goal is to make them like that. You have religious groups, not saying not. Not saying not. But if you had according to them, and they're going to take this whole group, let's say, it's like thousands of people. So they'll say, we'll only let the cream of the crop learn. Maybe a couple thousand. Yeah. Even time of King David, there was a standing army. Right? You had people sitting and learning, but you had a standing army. You needed a standing army. Very good. But the standing army only has any kind of power if you have people learning for them and praying for them. And if not, we're not doing the right thing, then yeah, they're in serious trouble. So according to them, if you take everybody out of learning, let's say, and you're not, bringing more people in, they're in trouble. They're in spiritual trouble. I just heard today, crazy thing. Up north, there were, I don't know, 200 missiles and UAVs and who knows what else, were shot, to, Jewish communities up north. Every single one of them hit open areas. Now there's some fires they're putting out, whatever. 200 hit open areas. Lebanon's not that far away. They got tens of thousands of missiles to cripple this country. They got tens of thousands of missiles. If you don't have people sitting and learning those missiles cause utter destruction, could cause utter destruction. 200 of all these things, whatever they were, they all hit open areas. Plenty of cities up there, plenty of buildings. Again, it's one of two things. Either got the stupidest people shooting them, that's a possibility, right? Or God's just knocking them out. Not that they got knocked down, remember. They didn't get knocked down here by Patriot missiles there. Doesn't sound like it. They all hit open areas. That's insane. That is insane. That doesn't make any logical sense, except for the fact that God's in charge. But if you didn't have people sitting and learning, we're subjected to everything like everybody else. We'd be in serious trouble. Serious trouble. Remember, many years ago, there was a suicide bomber in Beirut. 300 Americans were killed, one shot. You don't have divine protection. You don't have divine protection. If you have divine protection, it's a whole nother thing. It's a whole different thing. Someone here says, Christian Bible says, evil inclination entered Eve. Yeah. The evil inclination, again, so it's not according to us. Right? The evil inclination tried to convince Eve. Right? We certainly don't hold that was the case. When you blame your own actions on deceiving spirit, everyone's got evil inclinations. Right? If you would say, you're right, if you would say, it's deceiving spirit did this or did that, then you're not liable. Right? Essentially, you wouldn't be liable, right? It's called pass the buck. Very easy to blame. Very, very easy to to blame others for whatever we do. Person can say, come on, what do you want from me? I was born this way. What do you want from me? I grew up in a broken home. This is what I saw. You don't want me responsible. Why not? See, that's the major difference between Christianity and Judaism. A lot of differences, but one of them is that according to Judaism, all responsibility lies with us. According to Christianity, I believe in him, I'm good. Yeah, I don't have to take responsibility for anything. Seemingly anything you do, you don't take responsibility. That's a major difference. Major difference. Yeah, someone here points out, very true. Don't take any responsibility. Right? Just like the garden, it was a woman's fault. She got deceived, not Adam. Why didn't go to Adam to get deceived? Right? Now remember, he had 2 legs. A great helper to man, the snake. Also, has own desires. Yeah, wants to get Adam killed. Take Eve for himself. Right? Well, we're not going to go much further with this, but the point is a woman is more easily deceptible than a man. Yeah, she's more emotional. These are not, anti-feminist type of things. A man's more logical in many ways. Not saying all the time, right? A woman's more based on emotion, based on her hormones, different things, right? So, to go straight up against Adam, he wasn't interested. Go against someone who can manipulate or try manipulate, sure. That's why, by the way, one of the things that women have to do, Jewish women have to do, light candles for Shabbos. Because sin she extinguished the candle of the world, i.e. the soul, because of death. So all Jewish women now, when they light candles, help fix that sin up. Any other questions here? How do you entertain kids on Sabbath? A lot of kids like to play, I would say, build towers, blocks. I'd say Lego's more of a problem because they're too attached together. Play games with them, take them out, take them to parks if you can, let them run around. A lot of things they can do. Someone here mentions doesn't look easy. Serving Hashem in the temple's hard work. Yeah, it was. It's no question. So someone says the whole country's under attack. Shouldn't able-bodied men want to protect their country? At what expense? I'm not saying no one's going to fight. If you had nobody fighting, you're right. Then everyone have to go fight. There's no question. It's not getting tremendous spiritual damage here. Danger. You take these kids 18 years old. Let me ask you. I'll say like this. One of the things most people are not aware is that in the army, it's on the books, that every woman who's in the army is allowed up to 3 free abortions. What do you think is going on in the army? Like I said, they have separate units, different things. They're kids. Hormones going crazy. You're saying yeshiva guys out there, other people out there, it's a danger. If you need them, which for years that wasn't the case, then really everyone should go fight. Right? But it's a danger. It is an absolute danger to put them out there. You need people to learn. Right? And the reason that you see so much divine protection is because of that, not the power of the army. Right? So the more people you have learning, the better divine protection you have. Yeah. Like I say, Syria could come and invade. All the other places come and invade. They couldn't. Why aren't they? Because we have nuclear weapons. Don't tell anyone. That's not the only reason. There are so many miracles that happen here. Where are the miracles coming from? People sitting and learning. That's the defense. But you need other people out there. True. So you can't use that. I can't use that argument anymore. It used to be that was a very good argument because essentially they don't need more people. They're claiming now it's not true, but back in the day, talked 20 years ago, they were still talking about this. They didn't need people. I had someone who had to fight to get into the army. They didn't need people. Totally didn't need people. Right? If you had prophets today, you had the Urim V'Tumim, you went to the high priest and asked them, is this a Milchemes Mitzvah? Is this a war that everyone has to go and fight? And it comes out yes, then everyone goes to fight. Even someone just recently married, they all go to fight. But you're dealing with the spiritual world war also. It's not just you throw everyone to fight, and that's going to change the difference. Imagine 22 Arab countries, they all come and invade. They all come and invade. So they say everyone has to go fight. So what are the odds now? It's like 1,000,000 to 2. 1,000,000 to 10. If it's a war that everyone has to go, we don't profit to it. Yeah? You say, but if majority of people are reservists, so you need a lot more people. What would happen if you have, now, the whole thing with Lebanon, you need a lot more people, okay? Right? And could overrun the country. But guess what? God can stop it also, even if you don't. But you need people sitting learning, no question. That's no question. But again, if you're going to tell me they need the manpower and this and that, well, what's their goal? What's their end goal? Their end goal is to destroy Jewish souls. That's their end goal. So, God will take care of things either way. Either way, they have more people out there or less people out there. He'll take care of things either way. But if you don't have divine protection, you're sunk. According, Hezbollah has 300,000 missiles or more. Yeah. They could start a launch, thousands in one shot if they could. If you don't have divine protection, we're sitting ducks all over. We've been sitting ducks for 50 years, 70 years. Why don't all these, you got the 6-Day War, you got, other wars, it's miraculous. It's not just because of sheer numbers. Don't be misled. It's not because of numbers, it's because of divine protection. That's what it is. And if you don't have people learning, you don't have divine protection. Now, the numbers that they're talking about are, not so great either, but doesn't matter. Because what they're coming out against is the fact that they want to shma them up. They want to make them like them. Not just, you got to take responsibility and say, yeah, that's part of it. But they want to be like them. They want us to be like them. We're not going to give you anybody. We're not going to give you anybody. If it's a danger and everyone has to go to war, and yet prophets say everyone has to go, okay, everyone has to go. It's a bad situation, but, that far? I don't think we go that far. So I decide women to fight for their right by manipulating, a lot of things. Why did God test Abraham's faith if he had known his choice? Because otherwise he wouldn't reach the potential that he had. Right? I always say the last test was the, what do you call it? Was the Akedah, right? Binding of Isaac. That was the last test. So Ramban, I think, says, why didn't God just give him credit? He knew what he was going to do. What's the answer? Because he wouldn't have reached his potential. If he wouldn't have been as great as he was, he wouldn't have had his, he wouldn't have reached that great potential had he not gone through it. Why don't you just give him credit? Because unreached potential is unreached potential. Right? That's the answer. Even if God knew what he was going to do. All right. What's the purpose of the written Torah since most of the Torah is passed down orally? Whatever. I'm not going to answer that now. But it's a sign of the covenant for study purposes. You need a written law. If you gave an oral, let's say, I'll just answer this quickly. If you only had an oral law, who's going to read it? If you had an explanation on Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, yeah? God created the heaven and the earth. Very good. God created the heaven and the earth. What's the explanation? I got 1,000 pages to explain it. 1,500 pages, I'll be generous. 1,500 pages, all kinds of different sources to explain Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. How many of you are going to get through it and read it? So you need a written law. You for sure need a written law, but you need the explanation with it. But if you gave the explanation with it, and that was the main thing, then what's going to be? It's going to the book itself is going to be like billions of pages. No one's ever going to finish it. You'll never get past Genesis chapter 1. They need both, right? For sure, you need both. Not just for study purposes. Not just for study purposes. Someone here mentioned, very good, studying and practicing helps teaching the next generation, right? By example, right? By example. Yeah, I'm going to stop here. Just every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Israel time. Anyone has any questions, you can find me on Facebook at Chaim Koppen, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com, or Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on Torah portion of the week, Ethics of Our Fathers, Q&As, Book of Leviticus. You want to send me an email, RabbiChaimKoffen@gmail.com, RBBI, CHIMCOFFMAN@gmail.com. Wish you a good beginning of the day, middle of the day.